been having a really good tournament, which, wow. I think you could say that about any member of Astralis with how things have been going so far. But him in particular, I feel like when he is like playing at his best, he is truly terrifying. So it's definitely going to be interesting to see how Fnatic are able to cope, because although they have managed to get themselves through into the upper bracket, it's been a bit of a shaky ride here and there. So I've been loving watching them, but the main reason for that is their games have been incredibly close all the way through.
Yeah, we've been really treated to some phenomenal games of CS, Tom, watching Fnatic's journey throughout this tournament. It hasn't always necessarily been the cleanest of CS, but my God, has it been entertaining. And I'd expect nothing different from the Swedes. Whether you're a fan of Fnatic or not, you cannot argue how fun they are to watch. And now already taking damage early on, both Flusher and Glaive share that accolade, I guess, if they can hold on. But Fnatic have been pushed back multiple times, and you can see them respecting Astralis with their prowess when it comes to utility. They're sitting back in off angles and not necessarily fully stacking behind it. Now they flash their way into Arches, where Glaive is waiting with the UMP, but a drive-by headshot on Golden. One player, by the way, that has been performing so well for Fnatic over the duration of this tournament. And now they try and rush their way in towards the B site. Estitag spraying up through the smoke, doing tons of damage, but not getting any kills for it. Device taking a stray headshot, does deal with the Flusher threat, but now is being encircled by terrorists as Estitag falls down. Device needs to have a big moment, and it's Brolan in mid-air with the Tech 9 that shuts him out. But Magus, the new brains behind the operation, will come in with his Galil, and a 3K ties up the round.
I really like how Fnatic actually play that round, though. It's like they systematically decide who they're going to clear next. That's BS. Let's move on from that. I don't want to talk about that. But well, I don't think I need to say it. Historically, he's someone who will pick and choose when to use that AWP. And interestingly, Flusher has been AWPing a little bit throughout this event. And you know what? It's been decent. I love this, though, from S-Tag. Well, hasn't got much to lose. In this round, MP9 takes a big risk and, well, gets rid of Flusher already.
That is the expendable weapon that goes in with him. He did get 3 kills in the previous round, so his money is built up nicely, especially with the additional kill bonus that he gets onto Flusher. Just as you highlight, he absolutely has been a big part of Fnatic with these double up setups. Maybe something to look out for when Dust 2 comes around the corner. And on the CT side, when the roles reverse, Golden tagged down. Only 2 smokes between the rest of the T's. They've thrown out a Molotov. Brolan goes through the smoke before the rest of his teammates can really come in and help him out. And he is punished. Device getting aggressive. Talked about it with Frankie, who wants to take Fnatic out of their comfort zone. And he's about to flank in. If they don't get a move on outside of Apps, he will have a lineup. And there's the double spray. Nothing comfortable about this on Fnatic. And Golden, on a measly 19 HP, will be next on the chopping block. The bomb also in a horrendous position. He has to traverse through the apps or up on hay bales, and Dupree will silence him with the M4.
This is such a big brain play from Device as well. Like, he gets that initial kill, but it's the sneak through the smoke. You have to get the time. And Device has now purchased one up at the same time. So it is going to be that battle we've wanted to see. 2 AWPers who've been around for quite a while. Device obviously being a top 5 player in the world for the last 5 years or something. It's starting to get ridiculous. I think most people have lost count, including myself. And JW, wow, a legend of the scene.
Yeah, we were building up the history of the core of these rosters as Magisk, 2 of the newer recruits. Obviously, they've been in their respective teams a while now. But the core of these teams have played against each other so many times, and Device and JW is a battle as old as CSGO, really. It's good to get back into this again. JW's had a slow start. That's always going to be expected when he's not had his hands on the AWP very often, and your team's trailing 5-1. And Device peering down, Banana, a freebie onto Flusher. And I was mentioning that, you know, maybe this rifle round, their fortunes will turn around, but if anything, it's been even more one-sided, Tom. They're getting wrecked by grenades again. There's just no way forward. Spammed up through smoke. Oh, no.
Oh, JW does hit a nice little shot coming in onto Magisk, but frankly, it's too little too late. And that seems to be the case. It's almost identical to the last round they had with the pistols. They find a pick, but it seems at a point where the round is already done. And now JW, 25 seconds left. His teammates have a little bit of extra cash to play with. So it might actually just be worth holding on to this AWP, or attempting to, I should say. Because there are plenty of CTs and so much cash for Astralis that they can risk getting rid of this gun.
Oh yeah, could even maybe pick it up if they want to go for double AWP. Be quite curious. I think he may have dropped it on top of the bridge, which maybe saves that from coming into play. They do have more than enough funds, obviously, to buy their secondary AWP if they want to, which I'm not completely sold that they will. And let's be honest, these rifles and the one AWP setup has worked.
In fact, we even saw them against OG lose the only map we expected them to win and win the other two. So you don't really know. You can't count them out even if this was to go bad, but Astralis, they're looking unstoppable so far. Device, he does go for that early aggressive peek, uses the smoke to deny any Molotov, but ultimately, this time at least, Fnatic have managed to gain banana control.
Glaive upgrades that UMP to an AWP, so they do go for the secondary AWP. And yeah, the real scary aspect of this is this was the map that we expected Fnatic to win if they were going to win a map. And it's been so crushing, soul-destroying. They've baited Dupree in, but Brolan will not fall for it. The best chance that Fnatic have had since the pistol. They will be hoping and praying that they can convert this. They desperately need to. Magisk, one, if not the best pit player in the entire world. He has been for quite some time. He is staying alive behind the smoke. Biding his time for his teammates to rotate in. They weren't completely sold that it was an A hit. You can see how slow Estag is to rotate down banana. Device goes in for the first in this retake. Golden sent reeling 3-on-3. No utility on Fnatic and 2 incendiaries on Astralis. This could be a big part of the puzzle. But Brolan takes off the head of Device. They still know Magisk is in pit. And if they didn't realize it before, now they certainly do. But he's been suppressed down, leaving Estag in a 1-on-2. The money in good shape. He can go for this, but the bomb timer is running incredibly low, as is his health bar.
Just destroy the money of Fnatic because they never really fully committed. I think a couple of kills coming up for Device and Magisk sort of forced them to go for a slightly more aggressive. Fnatic do manage to hold on. The problem is they have still taken a hit. And interestingly, Flusher, even with the amount of money that him and his teammates currently hold, he's still gone for an SMG. But it is looking like he's going to go for a slightly faster play. Straight up banana he goes, through the smoke in fact, hoping to find someone on the other side, but over the last couple of rounds at least, it's been a more passive stance from the side of Astralis.
Yeah, that's true. We did see a couple rounds after the pistol where Device went through a smoke and wrapped around the back of them in the B-apps, or the A-apps, pardon me. As I said at the time, he wanted to take them out of their comfort zone. He said this to Frankie. He feels like that's a really good way to get in the heads of Fnatic and to put them down into bite-sized pieces. Flusher with the SMG play that you highlighted, and they run into the crosshair of Estag, and he does not miss, living up to the 3 in his name with a 3K. And now Crimson JW, they do have the smoke to safely cross to the site, but it's what can they feasibly do after that? Even in a post plan, it's a 3v2, and Astralis still have more than enough utility to make this work.
This is normally where Fnatic shine. Clutch situations, JW and Crims. And Crims is already going to kick things off. JW alongside him as well. And now Magic has to try and clutch this, but it's a bit of a whiff. Down to just 12 HP. The AWP on the other side. Nate going to be thrown out. JW's already made his way around the corner and retrieves a rifle, knowing this is the better in this scenario, and they will close out the clutch. It is what
they've broken the economy. This is where those double AWP purchases does come back to sting on Astralis. 2 rounds back to back. Incredibly costly, and now a real hope for Fnatic.
Nearly 400 isn't ridiculous, but if you're playing the B site and you don't get a few hundred utility damage, then I think you're doing a bad job, especially when you have someone like Flusher consistently just running up the top of banana. The headshot thing might be a little bit more worrying, but he does have Estag alongside him, who's been playing pretty well so far. It seems like Fnatic are also feeling that, okay, maybe they're just not hitting their shots on the B side, going to continue to pressure it. Flusher again investing into an SMG, and this is more of a choice than a necessity. Although the money for Fnatic isn't exactly flowing at the moment. JW the only one to bring through a weapon from the previous round. Now, they lost a round like this earlier. Granted, it was round number 2. But they need to try and make this one nice and clean. Get that economy flowing. Glaive not going to be able to achieve too much. Does hit a dink, and now S-Tag, well, he gets a kill. That's better than I expected, if I'm being brutally honest.
Yeah, that's pretty much the only play that you could really look for from Astralis once they got rushed down by 5. Maybe you can string together 2 headshots, but ultimately, at the end of the day, you are very unlikely to get success. They will hold on to these Deagles. They have Dupree that's going to be over $6,000 come the end of this. We can even pick up an AWP if he chooses and drop it across to Device. I'll have to wait and see what happens with that one. But at least Fnatic are having a real show of this. You know, I've got to be honest, Tom, I was getting a little bit scared when we got 7-1 and Fnatic were just being crushed across the map. None of the rifle rounds were even remotely close. I thought we were in for a bit of a bloodbath, but fair play to Fnatic. Down but never out. Tenacious bunch of players. But Astralis will be coming back in with a buy. I'd be quite surprised if Dupree doesn't drop an AWP. But I suppose
for certain, and sure, there's definitely been a few issues when it comes to their economy, but that excuse kind of goes out the window when you lose 6 rounds in a row. Like, we're not sat there going, well, they've had no chance to get any money. Boy, they have. They've had max loss bonus for 2 to 3 rounds. So, yeah, it's a bit weird. It almost seems like a bit of a cagey affair for Astralis rather than what was the first few rounds where they were very, very confident. The executions as well from Fnatic have been fantastic. Notice how even though Glaive gets a kill, completely forced out of position by Molotovs. And you just can't give Fnatic that space. That's the one thing that we can always talk about with Fnatic. If you give them space, they're going to take it every single time. Now this round, it doesn't even look like they're bothering to take Banana. They've realized that Astralis has sat so far back that they're just going to throw some smokes over from afar. And in the meantime, Brolin has managed to peek, find an individual jewel, and there is no chance for a trade.
It's a great sign on Fnatic, though. Dupree, one of their players that has just been absolutely banging heads off left and right in so many of their previous games. Well, he's just got 1v1 duel against Brolan. And to be honest, he had the drop on Brolan. So the fact that Brolan still came out ahead, that is a big sign for Fnatic and a worrying one at that on Astralis. 30 seconds. We've been here before. Nades flying on to B. Molotov behind it. One of these teams will lead at halftime. It's all even for now, but the momentum's certainly anything but. Device holds on with the AWP. It keeps 2 of them interested, though. And now the bomb is rummaging through onto A. Mages, typically playing in pit, now up on the balcony, using the smoke the T's have tossed out to his advantage, and sprays in for another one. Glaive is holding it down alongside Mages. JW comes out swinging with the Deagle, however. And now Brolan, the first player that saw action, is all that remains for the Swedes, but he's spinning around and he's landing nothing but headshots. Cultivating carnage in his wake. It comes down to Magus, who has the vast advantage in terms of HP. 13 now left for Brolan, who spins back around again, but Magus will punish him. Astralis will lead at halftime, but I don't think it'll feel too much like it, Tom.
Yeah, and a very, very uncomfortable position to end the half in. Streaks for both sides, but
Interestingly, it's actually Crims with the AUG as opposed to Brolan, who is typically the player that you expect to see with this gun. We'll have to see if they can make it work.
This round might be a bit of a cheesy one for Astralis. They've still got 3 SMGs. Oh, sorry, 2. They got rid of 1. They definitely have a massive advantage when it comes to economy, but also utility. There's going to be minimal in this round for Fnatic. A couple of players holding the majority, and that does mean their chance to delay is fairly minimal. And they're looking like they're about to take a fairly big gamble. They've got 1 man currently waiting on this B site, but after a few shots are spammed, they rotate back in golden. I think they realize that this is a round where they're going to have to take a few risks just based off that alone, and definitely don't want to get caught a man down. Here we go again. Some fake utility being expended by Astralis. 1 to block off the man on site and potentially have a wraparound. But again, this is all a ruse. And Glaive, he's blind through a smoke and still manages to kill off Crims.
That's when Crims is like, look, maybe it's just not my day, boys. Like, I'm just getting wrecked around corners through flashbangs. Like, what can I do? What can I actually do about this? It's outrageous. Astralis now, 35 seconds. Still yet to push onto the site, but that is imminent. They are about to pull the trigger. and get involved. Flusher and Golden stand against them, weathering the storm, and so far so good. Golden holds it down. Flusher goes in for another one. Good flashbang tossed in. They've stalled long enough that the rest of their teammates can now get up close, but one of which has been smoked off. That yields a bomb plant on Dupree. Keep in mind, this was a bonus for Astralis. Oh, through the smoke, JW decapitates Device. At least Fnatic get an 8. But it's not as if Astralis will be strapped for cash. They'll be coming straight back in with a full buy.
You can't fool JW. You can't make those sort of plays versus JW. You almost start to think if he was sort of questioning, oh, what would I do in this situation? You know what? I think I'd walk through the smoke. He spams it twice with an AWP, and then that's just filth as well. Like, both of these kills are just disgusting. Sure, it would have been an extra little bit of damage, but Fnatic are going to have to win a couple of rounds in a row. Anyway, Flusher, that's a great start. Device being just as aggressive as he was on the other side. Counter utility being expended to try and hold back any re-aggression. And in fact, all 4 members of Astralis are just waiting patiently for the flames to fade. They are now going to, again, head towards Banana. Flusher waiting on the other side. He battled it almost every single round while on the T side. And in fact, for now, it seems he might have forced them back.
Forced them back, but for how long, Tom? Will it be long enough for a re-rotation to take shape? Because they drew out Golden. This segregates Flusher from the rest of his team, and now he is being pressured. Maneuvering in, hiding behind the smoke. Dupree instantly collapses back onto Flusher. But still Astralis are a player behind. It may be a post plant, but still incendiary. Plenty of flashbangs, plenty of opportunities. Fnatic need to make this stick. They cannot afford to miss this landing. If they miss this, they could be just barreling out of their choice of map headed to Dust 2 next. Incendiary, tossed in the back of triple. No one home, not affecting Astralis. Time dwindling. Half of the fuse remaining now. Fnatic know they've got to get up close. They have no kit to play with. There's one on the floor, but they need to go pick this one up first. Blade comes in with 2, keeps spraying them down, and there's a 4K. And he's hyped. He's pumped.
What a clutch to hold on to. I feel like the B side of Inferno is just one of those sites where it can be very difficult to get back in. And while Glaive did a fantastic job, the thing is that late smoke that they held on to re-smoke the cross.
They don't need to start panicking just yet. They have more than enough of a safety net and the harness strapped to them. With Tech9s and Deegs more than capable of making this work as well. And maybe bring a couple of these players to their knees, economically speaking. But we mentioned the double AWP setup. This will definitely feature on Dust 2 additionally. Flusher has been a really solid secondary AWPer, and we saw him get the first pick down Banana in the first few moments of the round. That's a big grenade though. Device and Magus taking the brunt of it. Magus trying to answer back with some of his own damage, but they drop the bomb down. It's Golden's AK. This thing's true for the Swedes. They line up, and there's Flusher, a collateral. And that will be a good confidence builder. Not only the round, not only 3 kills for Flusher, but it's a clean sweep. It also builds up their economy nicely.
Yeah, Astralis will know that Fnatic are not a team to take lightly. Can't give them even a moment's notice, otherwise they will bring themselves back. There won't be any P90 rushes today, Vince, but yeah, they've still got to be careful here, because we haven't seen this sort of purchase from Fnatic, well, since they've started winning rounds. They just didn't have the finances available to do so. Early nades, though, gonna chunk out Flusher, and through the smoke, Glaive once again. He's become someone renowned for getting kills through smokes. Funnily enough, the man he just killed was probably the original. What? Excuse me?
Speaking of smoke frags, Golden would like a word with you, Tom.
I'd like a word with him.
Oh, the counteractive frag, and those are the kind of moments that Fnatic need. They need many, many more of them. You did highlight an interesting point, though, about the fact that Astralis haven't really fought off against this take on Fnatic's CT side with the double AWPs and plenty of utility. They've typically been beating a fairly weakened economic CT side. So maybe Fnatic can start to string some rounds together. Listen, the core of this team has been in these situations so many times on Inferno. We know they have it within them to find that next level. Brolan through the smoke, dancing into kills, and JW holding down from sight. They need to be careful though, because this could still go awry, but Golden comes in with the AK-47. He picked up the first frag in pretty terrifying fashion through the smoke, and he will finalize it too. Only 4 remain now on Astralis in terms of map points.
Yeah, so when this was, I think, what, 15-8? That's a free win for Fnatic.
I think if this were later on and they knew that Astralis had AWPs and they had, full AKs, they may even have gone for 2 AWPs. Because they know it's going to be basically a bonus round and Astralis likely will get aggressive, they keep the assault rifles, plenty of damage early on. S-Attack finished off, but dupreeh counteracts onto Golden. He was the assailant to kick it off, and now the flashes have subsided. Glaze suddenly notices that Crims has just stood out there. It comes out second best, second to the punch. Gets punished, and Fnatic at least lead in terms of manpower, as the smoke's now being tossed in from dupreeh to try and escape. But he is actually overstaying his welcome, forcing Crims in a position that you don't normally see CTs occupying in. Normally it's down in the pit. Flusher spraying through the smoke, gets mollied out of position again, but now Astralis, the utility belt has ran dry, and they've barely got any map control. For all they know, they're being flanked up through middle, which is probably the reason they're stuck in long doors. They realize the best way and the best course of winning this round is to just come out swinging and fight on long, try and take long control and convert into the round itself. But Fnatic are doing a great job of dancing around the bullets, dancing around the damage. 2 HP left on Flusher, who keeps going back in for these repeats. He's so aggressive. They line up and he gets 1. He then gets nullified. But still, Crims is here. He's been sat around pit for so long. Somewhat surprising that Fnatic have not drawn out any more of these players from B or middle, having supreme confidence in Crims' ability to hold on by himself. And that's why he's picked up 2. And with those 2 kills, the round surely will follow.
Yeah, there's not even enough time for Device to do anything here. That is hands down the longest battle for long I've ever witnessed. Like, that was a minute and a half of just 2 teams trying to kill each other and ultimately failing for the longest amount of time. I also like what Flusher does there. He switches his position up so many times that when it comes to actually trying to clear the second player in pit, they think they've still got another player to clear on a closer angle, because, well, why would you think that both players ended up in pit with the... I don't really know how that worked for Fnatic. I think, as you said, like, the fact that nobody gets rotated in showed how confident they were in that situation, but I definitely didn't feel the same level of confidence. And well, if at first you don't succeed, try again. dupreeh spamming through the smoke. He's got S-Tank to support him. The push coming up from Magisk as well. And this time, Fnatic aren't quite as lucky.
Well, this time they have been punctured. Last time, remember, I think they had 1 or 2 scouts. So they did come in with some pretty conspicuous weaponry. Now they've got AKs, they've got an AWP. So a much more powerful purchase. Astralis still with 2 smokes for the cross. Flusher may be called upon, and he has JW just behind him with the AWP. Do they go in for the wide peak? They do, but Device misses his chance. He's tagged down to 22 HP. Good flashbang tossed in, looking for some counteractive grenades, and now the smokes have been put into place. It's a disjointed attack, though. Still with Device pushed to the back of the long side. Wants to get into position with his AWP, perhaps. Maybe is just running back into the Molotov. Gets weakened and softened so bad that 1 bullet from Flusher through the smoke silences him finally. What a strange round this has been. Astralis finally get the plant. It's a 3v3 retake, and Brolan already up on the catwalk side is looking for some aggression. Runs straight through. It's a 1-for-1 trade. Now JW, the weakened player from earlier, boosting up Flusher, who comes in with a headshot. And Device, 22 HP to his name, who's found his position on long, but the bomb is not planted for him now, Tom. If they just stick the bomb, he should have this dead to right. And Device has been headshot back from Flusher. They have a kit, they have time, and Fnatic will have a second.
Yeah, I agree. They probably could have just defused that, but I like the fact that they go, okay, if one of us peeks him and fails, we'd probably lose the round because he's just able to deny the plant because of where it was positioned. Whereas they look to fight him together and, well, they make it look... This is a huge turnaround for Fnatic. This is a different side of them, at least on Dust 2. And as of right now, well, we have to start looking at the players on the other side. Device was one of them I was going to mention. He's been deadly quiet so far. Normally a pillar of consistency with the AWP. And Brolin, the level of confidence just swings into mid, but he's given up B.
Yeah, as they lost the first player, he had to try and come and fill in the gaps in middle. In doing so, they've made the most of it. Big grenade damage. There's plenty of funds on Fnatic. They could justify going in for this. Trading up to all the assault rifles. Flashbang through. Here we go. 4v4 retake. Taking control is Crim's aggression with the AUG, but Glaive and Dupree will lay them to waste. 2 of the remaining 3 terrorists perched over towards the tunnels and car. And Glaive will show his hand. Flush up. 10 kills already to his name. Setting up for some exit frags, hoping that Astralis go chasing him. But it's unlikely with their economic situation this poor that they would go in too hard on it. He gets a kill onto Dupree, and he also can just run away with the prize of the AUG. This has been another excellent round on Fnatic, all things considered. But at least Astralis have broke the curse, Tom. That's something to get excited about. They've got a round finally again.
Yeah, and they've completely switched up where the pressure is being placed. I think that's fair enough. We've seen a lot of rounds where they've attempted to go towards long that haven't really worked. Fnatic have put a lot of initial control in those portions of the map. So now they're trying to change the pace and head into that B side a little more, where there's heavy reliance on not only JW, but Brolin. Now, he may be someone who seems to be an absolute pillar of consistency as well, but he is still the young gun. Flashbang into middle. It's going to force JW off the angle again. It seems like mid is the play, and the pace change worked out for Astralis in the last round. With the double up setup going a little bit quicker can work, and if JW continues to miss shots, that could be what they need. But there goes Brolin. Crim's alongside him as well. And in a matter of seconds, this goes from a round looking good for Astralis to just Device.
Blended by AUGs. 2 on Crims, 2 on Brolan. And now Device, as you said, is the lone survivor. He has plenty of time to think this one over, to stew on all of his fallen friends, brothers. No quick flick. Golden will punish him. And I do want to just touch on a point that you raised, and I totally agree with you. It does feel to me that Device has been very absent in this game.
Oh, like what?
Oh my god, it's through smoke as well. Oh no.
It all happened so
at halftime with what many would argue is the best side to come. Astralis struggled and was submerged for large parts of that, but it did start with a 3-0, Tom, before the wheels fell off and Fnatic really awoke from their slumber. And now the Swedes are looking scintillating.
And this is something we see quite often now for Fnatic. I was a little bit surprised to see it the first time, but Golden buying a Deagle. He's looking to try and take those battles at range. Normally, you might see a P250, maybe even a Tech 9. This man's gone all in. Not going to see the battle for long, though. 3 players currently waiting with the CT side. S-tag clean as a whistle. And while there's only going to be 2 players remaining, pistols have not been a friend to Fnatic so far in this match. And it's looking like we might get a repeat situation once again, unless Crims can ace.
Got 2 already. Now, the downside for Crims is he has no control over the bomb. At this kind of range, 2 USPs should be more than good enough to suppress him. Also, Glaive is making moves up catwalks with Essetag, and Device didn't get the job done. It's likely Glaive would. It's a nice try, but Fnatic ultimately will stumble on the first hurdle in our second half, and Astralis have a chance to build themselves back into this. It was a good hold. Essetag with some clean headshots with that USB, and then into action, and we see a second wind.
Oh, I sure hope so. For some reason, I've just witnessed a picture of myself edited onto Freddie Mercury. I don't think I ever want to see that ever again. Thank you for that, Elliot. I hope that doesn't reach the stream, but we'll see. Brolin. How many kills are they going to get through smokes? Like, Glaive tweeted one after the last map. We've seen a fair few in this one. JW, that's a surprising miss. I thought that was an almost certain kill. The fact is, even with JW managing to survive, they're still in a hugely advantageous spot. And his role in this situation is just delaying any rotation. The rest of the team is still pushing and probing into long, taking slow control, while the CT's adaptation is to claim short. It's what you need to do in these situations. Don't allow a full split coming onto the A site. Force them into just challenging for long. We're even going to have to boost back up onto the site. But the fact is, as of right now, Fnatic, they're actually retreating back a little bit here. They've given up that control. Now, bear in mind, Flusher is still lurking on the other side of the map. And if they were to go towards B, well, let's put it this way. Magisk needs to hit his prime form if he's going to manage to survive this one.
May not be called upon though, Tom, because now they're moving on to Catwalk. Device with one, looking to try and funnel back. Gets an opportunity for another, but that's a perfect flashbang from Flusher. And that could be the beginning of the end. Glaive caught out in the open. Dupree now back against the wall, quite literally. And he gets headshot down, splattered. Fnatic looking good to have a bunch of map points. They do get the bomb down with 5 seconds to spare. And he talked about Magisk in prime form. It's been anything but in this map. He's down to 8. He has to save. Actually missed the AK-47 as well. Ouch. Missing the shot from JW, and he should be missing his life. Away from them.
Hey, lesson learned. Don't pick +2 versus Fnatic, even if they lose it 3 times in a row. And that's the thing. I almost feel like if you're an analyst in this situation, which thank God I'm not, they haven't won this map in the last 3 months. They just lost their own map choice. And then they come in and they're winning 15-7 on a map that, granted, hasn't been amazing for Astralis, but it's still been an all right map for them. It's Astralis, for God's sake. Current #1 team in the world. One of the best rosters of all time. Not in this match. Getting battered. Device, though, could at least get something here. Roland is so low that this has to be a free kill. The problem is this is not the take. That's the fake. This is the man trying to cut off rotations. Dupree, he needs a hero play and he only gets one. The trades from Fnatic are so fast every single time. And Vince, they've got one last chance. They need to make the retake work.
One last chance with an MP9 and a UMP, but the UMP ripping through Flusher. Glaive gets caught while trying to upgrade his weapons. And now in come the CTs, but it's Crims that locks it down and lands a 23 bomb in the process. An exquisite comeback from Fnatic, and we head to Overpass for our all-important decider.
I don't know how they do this every single time. They lose their own map choice and they manage to win ones. We saw this versus OG as well, where it's like, oh, no matter what happens in this map, the ride will continue because this is our upper bracket. This is for a place in the upper bracket final. There are some pretty damn good teams still remaining on the other side of that upper bracket as well. So it's not going to be an easy road, no matter the case, but that's why we have all the best teams in Europe currently here for the RMR. Golden, this is what we like to see. The IGL just goes upsetting JW to get both kills alongside him. He might have been the backup, but he seems like he's done the majority of the work. They abandoned the B site early, but they're prepared for this retake. Crims is sat back with a kit. He's waiting, just holding into Graffiti. He goes down, though. A bit of an awkward position, Vince, for that kit to be held.
Oh, absolutely, and there is a very real chance now that Astralis can build off that. Magisk straight away onto JW. So the only killer for the Swedes has actually been put down at significant amount of damage, and now Golden, 48 HP, stuck on the sandbags. He gets wrapped in from Magisk. Astralis looking to return the favor. Hot off the back of a loss, they come straight out of the gate. And it's nothing but headshots from Magisk. And Broland can try spinning all he wants. Attack will not miss that chance. And Astralis do claim the pistol. But I go back to Dust. And I would say they picked up the first 3 rounds, Tom. And they ended up with only 7. So I'm not going to get too carried away yet.
I'm fairly... Is this the first... Well, no, every single pistol or the second round, whichever happens. So Astralis always getting off to a phenomenal start in each map. This is where the game has begun in every other of the 2 maps. So it'll be interesting to see if it's going to be the same case. Double AWP setup invested into. Now, we look at Inferno, I would say double AWP optional, not common. We look at Dust 2, very common. Overpass, I think I link closer to the likes of Overpass, where a secondary AWP can be a bit of an awkward one, especially on the B side where it can get rushed down. Speaking of getting rushed down, not the start they were hoping for. Brolin's aggression again is going to be punished. And now JW, he's called for support, but just look at the T's. They take the pick. The mid-round call is to go back in the other direction.
Yeah, they are peeking in there with Golden and Crims, but that's to their detriment. Golden laid down, laid to rest alongside Crims, who will be feeling like he should have done better. Estetag was tagged to 31, and with both the AWPs remaining and the economy in basically the bin, I think we will see a save. And I agree, Tom. I think double AWPs on Overpass should be the exception to the rule. It should be a play that you bust out now and again, similar to what Potter was talking about on Nuke. I put it in the same kind of wheelhouse as a Nuke, where it can absolutely work. But if you are consistently picking up 2 AWPs, you're very susceptible to getting B-rushed. It does allow you less mobility when it comes to taking map control, which is such a key aspect of Overpass on the CT side. And I think we just saw it in motion there. Sure, Flusher and JW didn't really have an opportunity to do anything. They lost players right off the bat, but that's the other issue with AWPs. They're not ideal for retaking. And now Flusher has been put down, meaning that the save will be minimal at best. Dupree does eat a leg shot, maybe finished off from the USP at range. Beautiful headshot, actually, from JW. A bit of overkill. But, I mean, this is all we can really get excited about for Fnatic, is, like, maybe they can hold on to an AWP. Maybe JW pulls off some nice, save frags. He will do just that. What? Device? I mean, take nothing away from JW, but, mate, Device should be getting that kill every day of the week.
I know I'm being a bit cheeky once again, but is it possible to now look at the new Cloud9 signing? Can we have a look at his stats, please, after this replay? Because S-Tag is absolutely tearing them apart. I have to be honest, I'm one of the people where I saw that signing go through, and I was just thinking, Emery, you're a genius. Like, I don't know how you've managed
to battle their way back into this match.
Yeah, the problem being, though, that while all this has been going on, Astralis have been building up a war chest. They have so much cash. 3 players over $10,000. The remaining 2 with enough to buy for a couple of rounds. Can't just be one, Vince. It has to be a streak, and even then, loss bonus will come up. The chances are double digits are almost likely for Astralis in this first half. And hey, if you said to them going into the beginning of this map, you're going to get at least 9 rounds, or even just say you'll get 9 rounds on the T side, even though Astralis are a fantastic team in this map, I reckon they just take that.
Oh, I think so, absolutely. I think it's almost guaranteed they hit 10 at this point, honestly. Fnatic get around. As he said, consistency. They need to connect the dots. Need to prove to us that they can manage to do it. Maybe even prove to themselves. They're a team that have a lot of confident players on the team, as has been proven by the fact they're always seemingly at a disadvantage and still come out ahead a lot of the time. But the fact that JW is out-peaked while the slow play comes into effect, the crab walk crunches down, and Device waiting, expecting a desperation move to come in, and there's a third. He was eerily silent on Dust 2, and now he is silencing all of his adversaries. And he's having no mercy while he puts them down. Crimson Golden, valiant hold onto B, but the second they realize both players are here, they start to retreat the bomb back over onto the A site, where Devices just cracked it all open single-handedly. And Golden with 2, it's a nice attempt. But again, Tom, we spoke of this before. They need to start winning rounds. Nothing else is good enough. And Golden's missed his chance. That probably is the round following suit. He still pushes through the smoke, and Device gets a 4K.
We went into this series saying that Dupree has been playing very, very well going into this tournament. He's been someone who's performing. He's done nothing so far in this map. The other 4 players are playing lights out. And this is where Astralis become...
Fnatic at least going in the right direction. The first time that we can speak of consistency, they've got 2 in a row. Woo! 2 more in a row would be 10-5. And then maybe if they can get that second pistol, we could have a game on our hands. But there's a lot of maybes, ifs, and buts between us and the current situation. Astralis large and in charge, but JW making the most of that position of the smoke. Nullifying Device and puts Fnatic in the lead. And remember the stat. Most of the rounds they won on Dust 2 were after picking up the first frag. So let's see if they can continue that mantle.
JW, this is a little bit different. As I said, they've been very passive in a lot of these rounds. I feel like they got put back into the cage. The timing, though, for Brolin doesn't work out. And while JW, he's currently fighting for a position. There may not be anyone here. The free kills should come up. That's S-tag down. It's going to ring some alarm bells for Astralis that there is still somebody behind, and even going to drop a nade towards JW. The rest of the team, though, somewhat sectioned out, and Flush has just been dunked. Kobe straight out of the round, and Golden just trying to re-aggress. Will at least get one. Now we see Astralis completely surrounded. Like a caged animal, they're going to try and fight back out of this one. It's on to Magis. He needs some crisp caps to get away with anything, and it isn't happening. The streak continues. Just about getting through. A fourth at least for Fnatic. But of course, there's still enough money, Vince, for Astralis to buy one last time.
Credit to JW and the rest of Fnatic, though. And many teams have let their heads drop.
He got 4 kills in a map, and I said, I never expect to see that again. Unfortunately, it's come at a crucial time that we are seeing it again.
Yeah, exactly. He had 44 kills before the start of this map, was top fragging. So a real fall from grace. Still a chance, though, to build this back. And we touched on this on Inferno. He typically has been their entry kind of fragger. And speaking of which, JW, the other veteran core member of Fnatic, comes out swinging and blazing through Connector. Carnage in his wake, but Flusher has been silenced one more time. Good wallbang damage, and Glaive just about surviving on 4 HP. A real shot back into this for Fnatic, but they have to make sure they grab onto it with both hands.
Yeah, realistically, there shouldn't be much chance here. Now, I believe, just for anybody wondering, Fnatic do not currently have 5 players. There we go. I think Flusher is just reconnected. So that did kind of bug out the UI a little bit. They haven't managed to resurrect a player. That's not this game. That's the other one. And while CT still have a chance here, with the way that their players have been performing, there's a real opportunity. They're going to be forced forward, if anything, by Glaive's Molotov. And while the flashbang has made things awkward, he's done a decent amount of damage for how low he was. The remaining 2 players a little bit far behind, however, and considering the money for the CT side, they have such a big bolster of rounds. They don't really need to go anything here, but unfortunately, Dupree goes down in the mix of all of that battle, and Device will be the last one just to try and save his gun.
Device came through into this map with -4 for kill difference, which is not something you very often say at all, but he's currently 18, make that 19 and 7. So he's had a real turn up in form. Definitely a big component as to why Astralis are in such a commanding lead. As you highlighted though, Tom, with such a lead, they can easily come back and save and look to try and turn the screws later on. Now, Fnatic need to be very wary of this because their economy is not built into any kind of shape to justify throwing this many guns away. It's up to you guys to battle back now. You have no room for error. We're going to have some weakened weapons, maybe Galil's put into play. This could get a little bit scary. That's the JW play that really set things in motion. And then his 3rd kill. It was also, as you said, the presence, the pressure that puts on Fnatic, the lack of information that falls upon them. And now coming through into what could be Fnatic's final rifle round, we'll only see Golden on a Deagle. So even in this, at such a key integral moment of this best of 3, Fnatic can't field a completely healthy buy. They have more than enough pieces to make work. And now Device will get aggressive again. 23 kills to his name, over 100 ADR. And he's on the prowl for some prey. And Flusher, up out, nearly gets flicked upon. But Device does miss out. This time it's Glaive that gets aggressive into Connector. It's the UMP, and it comes out ahead against Brolan. Golden's also been traded off against, and Astralis going from strength to strength.
Yeah, this has just become a slaughter. We're back to map 1 once again, and this time I can't see a comeback in sight. This man has been one of the players to watch. JW over 100 ADR in a match where you only have 7 rounds, but even he can't do anything. Magis peeks in, S-tag holding the angle, and Flusher again. It has been a few times. Impossible clutch situations. Like, this one is literally impossible. I think I've seen this one once. It was that Guardian play, and it was one of the worst mistakes I've ever seen a team make, and we're not even going to get a chance to witness that from Flusher. 15 rounds on the board for Astralis. It doesn't even look like they've broken a sweat in this map. You can see smiles across the faces of Magisk at least. And while Fnatic surprised us with their victory on Dust 2, whether it was predicted for them to win or not, that Dust 2 win was an upset. But this overpass is what we expect from the #1 team in the world.
Well, I touched on it, but I felt if Fnatic were going to win this game, they had to win the Inferno. They were unable to convert their choice of map. And now, Astralis, even flashing 3, still connects the headshot into Crims. That is just the summary of this map, honestly. It just hasn't been working for Fnatic. Great flick from Magis. Up and over onto Brolan. It's looking like the beginning of the end. The end is very much here. And although Golden is posting up a bit of resilience, it's coming too late. They needed this 4 or 5 rounds ago. And whether it's Esatag, Device, or Glaive, the end result should be the same. With Golden going down alongside Fnatic, they will get bested. Revenge has been served. Astralis take the 2-1.
Yeah, Fnatic, they go missing at the worst possible time, and Astralis, they rise to the occasion. It ends on overpass, and the Danes once again are showing why they reign supreme in Europe. Absolutely phenomenal stuff from them, and honestly, Vince, like, it's one of those things where you kind of sit there and go, okay, after the second map, maybe Fnatic rise, maybe they show